Okay, can you guys hear me? Let's just get a hands up. We're gonna do a mic check first, and then we'll get this started. Just giving people some time to jump on in. For those who didn't get the instructions on time, to reach out to Diana and such. So we're just gonna go ahead and wait for them to show up. So let me. We got this here. All right, all right, you guys hear me clearly, like, without, like, an echo, right? I'm just making sure that my desktop audio isn't also causing reverb here, so nice and clear. We got it loud and clear here. Perfect, perfect. No echo, perfect. All right, it was very soft, so we're gonna go ahead and make sure. Are we loud and clear now? All right, clear, no echo. Are we loud enough, Raja? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, that's what's happening. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay. So what that's what I was trying to avoid. It was actually reverb, which is coming from the actual source on the monitor, right? Uh no, you're gonna be able to see me. We're gonna get this started, but I just wanted to make sure that everything, yeah, it's been a while since I've been to live stream, right guys? So I wanted to make sure the audio was nice and set. Um all right, we're good, we're nice. Solid. Um Who's ready to learn today? Let's get some thumbs up. Who is ready to learn today? We're gonna drive this home. Um, we're really gonna drive this home. You're gonna love it here. You guys are gonna love it here after we're done. Now, is Diana in the chats? Diana, are you there? All right, everybody's here. Great. And we got Hot Potato in the chats. All right. So, time to show my ugly face. How you guys doing? So first off, welcome to the online trade camp. There's about, like, if I'm counting, 30 of you. 30 of you are here to change change the trajectory of, like, your trading experience, right? And it's actually a really, really simple thing. And we're gonna get to that in a second. We're gonna get everything. All right, so everybody's here, right? So K-Bomb, I have YouTube chat here, so I'm looking at the YouTube chat there. I have my source monitor here. I have my other source monitor there. So if you guys see me with my head on a swivel, it's because, you know, look at that way and look at that way. Make sure I don't get caught out. But yeah. Okay. So let me sip this coffee. And then, guys, this is going to be 3 to 4 hours of just beating you up. That's what this is going to be. Making sure that by the time you leave the stream, you are competent and confident in the system, right? There's just some things you cannot ignore about our system that if you just allowed yourself to take the time to really look at what it is, it'll change your trading experience. Now, I also will say, Hot Potato, are you there? Go Yankees. I need a Knicks cup tonight. Tonight they need to win. Close it out, but I need a Knicks cup. Right, Diana, thank you so much for handling all these DJs here, and Hot Potato, thank you for uh joining in here. I'm obviously going to have a chart question at some point, and so Hot Potato is going to help me out there. All right, so guys, we're all set. Took my coffee, and now let's get right to it. Okay, guys, so in the description of the video, there's two charts. There's chart number one, which is Trade 1348 only chart, right? This is if you just have a Trade 1348 membership and you don't have a Gabe Trades membership. Now, Gabe Trades is an add-on for an extra $99. I will say this, that add-on will save you, will actually pay for itself on a candle entry due to, some of the other indicators that we have there. On a candle entry, it will pay for itself. So if you're not in Gabe Trades as well, you're slacking. I don't know why you're slacking, and people are just like, oh my God, you're too expensive. Like, no, you're not. No, we're not. I mean, all in, $269. All in. Like, bro, we're cheap. So, let's get right to it. If you have the basic chart, and that's fine. The basic chart is going to help you make money. Let's go over how I have it set up. Now, there's just one additional tweak to the chart that I would make after, obviously I included that link in the description there for you guys in the YouTube video. Whatever. Anyways, so guys, we're looking at this right now. The only change I will ever make is going on over to GT Legends right here, right? And then the only other setting I'm changing is the predictive levels. Okay. And then of course we want the 200 EMA toggled on. And that's it. We don't want the predictive levels on, right? And there's a reason for that. Okay. Now, if we have the predictive levels on, what that means is, let's zoom out of here. What that means is, even when there isn't a trade design, you will start anticipating level breaks and or, start creating trades in your head, right? So what we're trying to do is give you the actionable material only when the trade design pops up. And in this case, you see you have the levels here on the trade design. So 1348 Legends here, you make sure you have it toggled off, okay? This is just really, really important because it's going to help you. It's going to help you stay focused on the system and trading the system only. Okay, does that make sense? You guys following along so far? Cool. Hands up. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and then just break down what we have and why we have it here on the chart. Okay. So we're going to minimize everything and we are just going to focus on 1348 Legends here. Okay. Now, guys, this is the basic chart. The basic chart is plenty powerful enough, but it will also allow you to appreciate what we got over at Gabe Trades. So, very, very simply, when we look at the basic chart, right, We don't have any colorized candles because we don't. All we have is a ribbon and the 200. Now, I want you guys to really, really look at what this is, right? Because with the ribbon and just the 200, you have a green ribbon here and you have a green 200 there, right? So that's giving us a leg here, right? Giving us a leg here. And of course, when we break this level, we got a leg there. So those would be 3 trades. 3 trades on the day. Remember how we talked about limiting yourself to just 3 trades on a day, right? This is all you really have to do. I want you guys to get comfortable with turning everything off except 1348 Legends and looking at the band and looking at where we are relative to the 200. We can go ahead and zoom this out, and you can see very much the same thing, right? The band is green in this leg, so there you go. The band is green and the 200 degrees in this leg, so there you go. And then, of course, this thing just takes off, right? But you're probably done within these 2 trades. Now, it's really, really important to understand why you guys are trading. Now, if you're trading to make a lot of money, I want to see some hands. Be honest, who's trading to make a lot of money? Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's trading to make a lot of money. All right. Well, so everyone's trading to make a lot of money. Look at the hands up. It's a beautiful thing, right? And I'm going to tell you that the idea that you're trading to make a lot of money is the reason why you don't make a lot of money. You want to trade to be consistent. You don't want to trade to make a lot of money. When you trade to be consistent, right, making money is a consequence of it. When you trade to make a lot of money, guess what happens? You whore to every move of the candle. You whore to every pivot of the candle, right? You trade to make a lot of money. You trade to follow your system. You trade to be consistent with your edge. Everything else falls into place. Make sense? Right? Of course, everybody wants to make money. It's like me saying, like, hey, I want to win the Super Bowl. Well, first I got to fucking play football first, which ain't happening. Gravity loves me. I'm 5'9". Just not going to happen, right? But you see what I'm saying? So you got to put that practice in, right? You got to be realistic here. Your approach has to be realistic. Yes, we all can make a lot of money. I'm a testament to it, and it took me 20 years making a lot of money. But my goal initially wasn't to make a lot of money. My goal was to fucking get it, to be consistent, right? And if that means, guys, you paper trade for a whole fucking month, right? You paper trade to a point where the brain doesn't know any fucking difference of whether it's paper trade money or real money. I mean, that is the absolute key when you are trying to embrace the system, right? Is you're so consistent that the brain doesn't know the difference if it's real money or fake money or a prop firm account. Okay, so you want to be consistent. The goal is to be consistent. Making money is a consequence of being consistent, and I want to prove it to you. So, utilizing this rule here, candle close above the 200, we have band here, and this is NQ. We take it to the top, that's 258 points on one contract. 258 points on one contract. Can someone tell me With one NQ, how much that is? That's over $5,000. With an MNQ, that's over $500. Just, again, being consistent. The 200, we're above it, and the band is green. Okay? We could show examples where the opposite is true. Okay? Now, this here, sweet. This is 300 points. That's $6,000 with one NQ. $6,000? 314? Holy crap. One NQ, $6,000. And you're done by 10:35 in the morning. 10 contracts is $60K. And if you guys ever wonder how I can make over $100K on a trade, I'm scaling in. But I also know that my trends, when they go with the 200, will last a lot longer than the trends that go against it. Okay. Now, we have this leg here. It's a red band. But the 200 doesn't turn red until we actually break it. And what do? We can follow this all the way down, you know, and some will argue, well, yeah, we got flips of green there. We got flips of green. And then that's where the GTMA moving average, which you're going to find at Gabe Trades, solves this for you, right? It truly does solve this for you. But the fact of the matter is, hey, you get in on this trade here, you made your money for the day. Even if you got in, at 10 o'clock. We got in at 10 o'clock somewhere in the middle of that band and you just took it up. That's 200 points. That's $4,000. Right? So, the simplicity of the system, right, will prompt you to make the right decisions. I get it, guys. When we start adding layers to it, you start feeling like something's telling you different from the other, but all we're doing is adding layers to give you the additional confluence. But at its core, it's really the simple. Who's following along? I mean, who really just stripped it down right now and said, oh my God, really? Is that easy? Come on, hands up. Hands up. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we got hands up here. And super simple, right? What does this mean to you guys? Holy shit, let's go ahead and do this, right? There's really nothing to do here. That is 1,237 points. That if you just believed in our rule, just a rule, where we broke below the 200 and followed this band down, okay? If you believe in just a rule, holy hell, that's over 20K with one contract. One NQ contract. $1,000 in margin made you $20,000, more than $20,000. Oh my God. Oh my. Right? Trading doesn't need to be difficult. It doesn't. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and illustrate another example. We're above the 200 here. Right? This is green, so we want to take the green bands. Let's ignore this. Guys, listen. Listen. Look it. Did you know that temptation is purely a human experience? Temptation is purely a human experience. Every other animal in the animal kingdom, right? They're not driven by temptation. They're driven by survival. They need to catch that bunny because they're fucking hungry. If they don't catch that bunny, they don't eat for 2 days, right? They're highly efficient, right? You won't see a lion overhunt just because, like, fuck it. Yeah, it's fun. Let's go catch that gazelle, bro. Like, no, right? Temptation is purely a human thing. And it's the one thing that fucks you all up every single time, because we're going to take that step back and say, yeah, we're all trading to make money, right? As opposed to, I'm trading to become consistent, and then the money happens, right? But then it's like, if you're not trading to be consistent and you're trading the money, then you are tempted by every possible conceivable opportunity on the chart, as opposed to being like that lion who caught his gazelle for the week and said, okay, baby, I made my 298 points here following the rules. What is that? Is that like $6,000? Anyone doing the math for me? I've literally showed you over the past, like, pretty much what, the past week? You literally could have made fucking 40 grand in a week. Just one trade each day with one contract. I mean, who's sitting there like, what the fuck just happened to me right now? Right? Literally, guys, we have seen one trade since Monday would have made you over 40K this week. One trade a day. Following the system. Just following the system. Right? Trading to be consistent as opposed to trading for money. Because you're trading for money, you're just blinded by the idea of money, money, money. You're not trading to be consistent. But if we trade with rules and trade to be consistent, let me just rub it in your face here. All right. Let's just call that 6,000. That's Monday. Right? We're going to go ahead and call this, sheesh. That's like 27,000 right there. Right? We're already at 33. This leg up, let's call that another 6,000. We're at 39 right here. This is by Wednesday. Right? We could go ahead and do this one leg up. That's at 26. So we're at 5,000. Right? And this is Thursday. Guys, we're over 40K by that point. Right? Here, that's going to be another 3K. And then you take that second trade, that's another 5K. Who is counting that? I think we breached 50K in a week with one contract. 52. Who would say no to that? No one would say no to that, but that 52K only comes from being consistent and following the rules. Listen, guys, I'm not a snake oil salesman. Like, I eat my own fucking dog food. I created the system, right? And the system is what makes me rich. And rich beyond measure, even though, yeah, I just refuse to buy Chanel's and all that nonsense, right? Fucking incredible. Okay, so we've gotten that out of the way, right? So we're good. Okay, awesome. We're good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and turn on another indicator. This here is GT500. Now, GT500 essentially follows the same rules, right? So let's just say we ignored the 200 for a second. So the 200 is off, guys. Okay. And we say, as long as GT is green, we have this leg up here, which is 175 points, right? And that band there, that leg up here is another 400 points, right? Not bad. We use it in the same way that we're using the band and the 200, right? Here, do we go against GT because it's red? No. Do we follow it here? Yes. Do we go long here because GT flipped? Yes. Right? We have the color confluence. We're solid. Now, it's usually good to have the 200 as an order of confluence, right? Using the 200 or using VWAP as an order of confluence, especially if you're a beginner trader, right? Because it's going to give you probably the safest entries, right? Because with something like this, with GG500, you know, you're you're flipping before we break the 200, right? And so then the 200 could act as a nemesis and cause a reject, right? I mean, we've seen that time and time again, right? Um, so access support here, or you know, break support comes back up. So the 200, right, could go ahead and almost make these things look a little bit confusing, right? Especially in areas like this, makes it look confusing. It does, and I get it. But what it does do, right, is it gives confirmation for this trade, this trade, this trade, and this trade that alongside the 200, it gives that confirmation. And why is this important? Because the slope, right? That slope is telling us there's a trend. When we really don't see much of a slope here, right? It's not as good of a trend. This is a massive slope. This, not necessarily. Okay. So here, at GT500, you can almost use it as a gauge for how strong the trend may or may not be, just based on the trajectory of this trend line, right? But some will go ahead and say, all right, I'm more comfortable using GT and using the band along GT. Some might be more comfortable in using the 200 with the band. Let's keep it simple, right? And the reason why we're going to say one or the other now is because, guys, this system has reached peak. It's fully matured. Um, guys, can we give a round of applause to Hot Potato? This has been, Jesus Christ, years in the making, right? It's phase twos right now, but we have, to some degree, built out a system, right, where the confluences are already baked into, like, let's say GT, and the confluences are already, baked into something like a GTMA, right? Those type of things, right? Trade design confluences. So, I can say confidently, right? We can use the 200, or we could use GT500, right? You can use them independently from one another. Does it make sense? Guys, when you look at the chart now and you do you know, an or type of statement, the 200 or GT500, don't you feel like the chart just opens itself up to you and you're like, oh, well, damn. Who's done that right now? Who just like said like, whoa, okay, yeah, I take the 200 off. I could use GT500, or I can turn the 200 on, and yeah, same difference, right? But the real kicker here, the real kicker here is it gives your brain less things to analyze, right? I'm a point and shoot trader. I'm a point and shoot trader, guys. Right? That's all I do. less things to analyze. I see something, I take the trade. How many of you guys have seen my videos all through the week, the newer videos, and you see me take trades, and I'm literally calling out the market as if the market's listening to me, and the market's like, all right, Gabe, what do you want us to do? Right? We point and shoot. We do not overcomplicate this, right? So none of the I noticed crap. Exactly, right? We can treat this objectively. If GT's green and our band is green, then we're solid. There's really nothing to do here, right? You're solid. Okay. If you don't want to use GT, that's fine. You just come back here, turn on the 200, and you're solid. Pretty wild, right, guys? Okay. So let me go ahead and turn off the 200 here. And you notice we don't have predictive levels on, and we don't even have a trade design on. Why is that? Right. So we'll get to that in a second. Right. Let's stay on track here. Okay. So let's leave GT500 on, and then let's turn this on. So this here, guys, is your premium versus discount range. Okay. Now, the idea here is you want to, if you're going short, you want to capture price when it's expensive, right? Because, if I'm going to sell it to you short, I want to buy high and sell low. If I'm going long, I want to buy low, sell high, right? I mean, it's a market. So let's really look at this anatomically, right? Which of these two setups make the most sense? We got the GG flip to the upside, and we have a GG flip down. But which one makes the most sense? Oh, everyone's quiet here. Everyone's quiet. What makes the most sense here? Okay. Going up. GG flip up. No, Chrism said down. Dude, you really want to get beat like a San Antonio Spurs fan in New York City, don't you? He said down. Woo! It's long. Let me explain why. Okay. Guys, what you have is probably the most powerful, robust suite of tools you will ever have anywhere. Okay? So let me explain to you why. All right. So, guys, we have the band here. The band is going to be a mainstay in our system. The band, right? This is smoothing out price action. And you notice I don't have the 200. You notice I don't have the 200, right? We talked about the evolution here, right? We don't have the 200 anymore because this is equilibrium, right? This is price, equal distribution, up and down. Equal distribution of price, up and down. So this is the middle. I don't need the 200 anymore because I know where middle price is. And we have to be above middle price to confirm we're bullish, right? But here we go. But the reason why this trade makes the most sense here is because we're buying it at a discount. This green zone down here is a discount zone, right? Now, don't go ahead and be a fool and be like, oh, we're in a discount zone here, so I'm going to buy here. It's like, no, GT's telling you red, so it's telling you stay away from this, right? Let it get cheaper. Let it get cheaper so then you can catch it right here, my friend. When price was just right there, cheap, right there. And look at all that money you make, baby. Oh, gotta love it, right? So, let's recap so far. We could use the 200 in Confluence with the band, and that works. Made you 52 grand on the week. We can swap out the 200 for a GT500 and trade along with the GT500 with the band as long as that agrees, right? We could then go ahead and say, all right, we'll only enter the trades where GT is green and it flips when price is cheap so that we can sell when price is expensive as a market. So what I think is happening with a lot of people is as we've added layers to the system, that's pretty much all you did, right? Was add layers and layers and layers, right? But as you kept on adding layers and layers and layers, right, your attention span got smaller and smaller and smaller, 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 right? Because it's like, ooh, there's a line here, there's a level there, there's a band there, there's a flip here, there's, oh my God. It's just too much for your little novice brains. I get it. So, again, we come back to simplifying it. And we could say, based on my chart looking at this, I only want to buy when price is cheap in this green zone and GTS flipped green, and I will sell when it gets insanely expensive. All right. So this goes, is this the reason that sometimes it seems like I'm not making money as fast as I lose it? The reason why you're losing money and you're losing money fast is because you're a contrarian. You're hunting reversals, you're anticipating reversals. Guys, when you trade against the trend of what it is, that money flies away from you faster. It just flies away from you faster. You're going in opposite directions, bro. Like, market's like, I'm going up. You're like, I'm hunting a reversal. You're going to go down. Like, yeah, you're hunting reversals. And that's what's going to get you wrecked. Okay? So, stick with the trend. It's cheap here. GT says it's green. Let it get expensive and you sell up here. Here, it's very, very easy to argue. Well, Gabe, GT flipped here and everything is coming on down. And sure, but based on what the market values price to be, right? You probably want to catch a GT when it's here, right? Right there, when it's really, really, really expensive. Because the flip happened when everything was in a discount already. This flip happened when everything was in the discount zone. So what I do, remember we're trading to be consistent and to follow rules. We go ahead and say, nope, that's not the trade I want to take. I want to take the trade that candle just barely breaks to equilibrium, right? This is a fair play where it's cheap, and I'm going to ride it up. Now, you guys see how you had this flip here, and it happened while it was premium, you see? And then it came right down to equilibrium. If we were going short, this is the setup we want to see. We want to see GT flip in the premium zone, okay? We want to see a flip in a premium zone. Has no obligation to do it, right? But that's what we want to see, okay? If we were utilizing this technique and strategy, right? And in utilizing this technique and strategy, you can make a lot of money. I mean, guys, we do this here, right? Getting it on cheap, 486 points. That was there. Here, get it on cheap. That's another 500 points. 534 points. So this is 10K right here while you were sleeping. There. So, band flips looks like better exits. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. Right. Really, really, really simple stuff here, right? So, but geez Louise, right? How about this? Look at your exits when the trade starts making you feel comfortable. When you're like, what do you mean I'm up $3,000, right? Just starts making you feel like a certain way, like you almost don't deserve it. Maybe that's your exit, right? Um, and then, of course, as you become more confident with the system, you'll see that that feeling goes away. Okay, so that's that. So we've pretty much covered um, everything, right? What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the trade design here. Okay. Now, the trade design, guys, is it's it's a suggestion. Kind of like the post feel of it is a suggestion for me, anyways, right? Now, with the GG trade design, you can change your risk mode, guys. Again, this is at trade 1348. So with the GG trade design, you can change your risk mode to traditional or ATR. Now let's set it to traditional. Right. Now, traditional, you never hit your risk box, right? And keeps you in the trade. Don't get stopped out. Don't freak out, right? When we change it to ATR, you see, the trade design becomes legit smaller, right? Which one's better? I will say, if we're doing a 5-minute intradays where you're just trying to get one leg, 2 legs, 3 legs, a leg is a trade, so you're looking for 1 or 2, 3 legs. I would honestly use ATR. Now, if you feel like you want to just try to like capture an entire trend, then we would use traditional, right? But you would size smaller. So the larger your risk, right? I'll show you guys something here. We're gonna measure this. This is ATR based, and that's 154 points. Okay, that's the risk box. We go ahead and, change that to traditional, and that's nearly double, right? So okay, because that risk box is much bigger, than I would say, okay, well, I'm going to use this so I can hold longer, right? Because I have more room in the risk box. I prefer ATR because it keeps my risk tighter and more in tune with market volatility. But I tell you what, twice the risk means half the position size, right? So if you were going to go with regular ATR, one contract, if you adjust your risk for twice the size, then you go half a contract. Now, of course, yes, that limits your upside, right? Because you're doing 5 MNQs as opposed to 1 NQ. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, guys, right? You want to be consistent. Now, traditional is just meant so you can hold longer. It's not meant for you to make more money. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Traditional gives you more room, more breathing room, so you could hold longer, but it doesn't mean you make more money, right? It just means you trade smaller, right? And it gives you more real estate on the chart to be wrong. Let me tell you guys something about being wrong in a trade. Okay. Um, when are we wrong in a trade? When a trade no longer matches our thesis, we're wrong. Or, okay, let me take a step back here. You can be wrong in your trade from the onset of the trade. As soon as you take the trade, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And there's a condition of which you're absolutely wrong as soon as you take the trade, even though right here you got the trade design where it says, hey, like, yeah, take the trade, and yes, this becomes a profitable trade. But you know where you're wrong? You're wrong if you oversize. Right? As soon as you take that trade, you oversize for this trade, especially with this risk box, right? If this risk box is set to traditional, but you come in with 1NQ, you're already fucked in this trade. You are 100% already fucked in this trade. Why? Because by the time you get down here, right, you have absorbed twice the amount of damage that the person with 5 MNQs who actually went half a size smaller, right, thinking about using the HER method here, right? They cut theirs in half, right? But here, with 1NQ, it's, oh my God, right? One, you're going to get stopped out here. Two, you're gonna be painfully wrong because of your sizing, right? That's why we go ahead and say, all right, we're in traditional, we don't do 1NQ, we do an MNQ, right? That way, the pain, you won't feel the pain that someone with 1NQ is feeling until down here. They're already feeling it up here. Make sense, guys? They're already feeling it up here. You have nothing to worry about, right? You're like, you know what? I can let this trade ride. I trade small enough to let this trade ride, right? And I'm chilling here because price hasn't come down to this level. Hell, price hasn't come down to the GT. What does that do for your emotional health? Knowing that your risk box is so far down and you trade it so small and you really don't have any reason to start freaking out, right? Because GT hasn't flipped. You haven't come all the way to the other side of this trade to invalidate the trade. You guys following along? Make sense? You're chilling. This is the key to my cool as a cucumber act whenever I'm trading. I'm trading small enough to eventually be right. Let that let that sink in. Trade small enough so that eventually you're right. If I go ahead and say I've got 10 contracts here, and that's my risk, right? 300 points. That's $60,000 right there. There's no way I can stomach that. I can't stomach even this. That'll be like $30,000 in drawdown. You mean to tell me I'm losing the goddamn Corolla? That's what Corollas cost these days, right? Maybe a Camry. I don't know. One day. Who knows? That's painful. But relative to my account size, if I only traded 1NQ, I'm only going to be down 3 grand here. And I traded small enough to eventually be right. Make sense? These trade designs are here to make you conscious of your position sizing. If you see this trade here and you're like, that risk is fucking ginormous, right? That should prompt you to size it the fuck down so that you can be right. Now, remember we talked about we're not trading to make money. And yeah, I get it, guys. When you see like you're like, man, I only made $100 today, right? I only made $200 today, right? Of course you want to make 60 grand. Of course you want to make 100 grand on one trade like you did the other day. But are you ready for that risk? Probably not, right? So the goal here is to allow yourself to trade small to survive a drawdown. Let me tell you about our bot, boys and girls, for those who are using the bot, right? So on a day-to-day basis, those using the bot, you have days, maybe a weeks where Corex and GDS and MOAS, they're fucking killing it, right? They're killing it. But then there's moments of drawdown, and that's what makes you feel like, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable, right? But we designed the bots to stay alive over time. You have to design your mind when you're entering these trades to stay alive. And the way to do that is to trade smaller. Um, C6, yes, yes. We explained it. We explained it. Okay. So that's this here. So this is what you get with the Trade 1348 basic system. Pretty fucking potent, don't you guys think? When you understand, like, all I have to do is just trade small, and all I have to do is either trade with GG Confluence in the band or the 200 moving average and the band, make sure those colors match, make some money, and move on with my life, right? Trade to be consistent. Holden is saying I'm now trading 2 micros a trade. You will be amazed at what 2 micros. Listen, come on, 2, right? So that's going to be $300 here. Well, no. That's going to be $600. $600. Let's talk about this, right? That's 1055 and you make $600 at 1125. 30, bro. In 30 minutes you make it $600, right? Let's really not talk about the money at that point. Let's talk about how efficient you are that you made $600 in 30 minutes. Think about that. $600 in 30 minutes. How efficient are you? Who says no? I'm not saying no to $600 in 30 minutes. Who's going to say no to $600 in 30 minutes? You're super efficient. Guys, you imagine, right? No, I'm not going to use this example. Oh, this example is going to be really bad. No, I cannot use this example. What? Let's just be real. $600, 30 minutes. No one's bitching. So, but here's the real power of that $600. That $600 accelerate your port for tomorrow to compound. The real accelerant, guys, isn't the dollar amount that you're making. The real accelerant is the percentage. So it's the 1% compounded. Now, if you're doing 1 to 2% on a day and you're compounding that shit like, oh, fucking Lord have mercy, you're on a fast track to just an incredible life, right? And never ever feeling like, like you would never feel like your back's against the wall ever, right? Imagine having a tool and a skill set that you could just turn it on and you can make money and, you know, not have to take out a fucking loan or anything like that, right? Take out a payday loan or ask friends for a few dollars. You know what I mean? Like you have this skill that, you start with a prop firm and you take your payouts and then you just dump it into your own account, then it's allowing you to make 500-600 bucks on one swing here. We got another swing right here and like literally did the same thing, right? So two trades, you're up $1,000. Guys, it's insane. Okay. So I mean, this is the system. This is the trade 1348 system. You don't have Gabe trades, that's fine. This is the trade 1348 system. So who appreciates that in its simplicity? Let's show some hands here, right? Because now the Gabe trades version is a lot more complicated, right? And so in order to truly appreciate the Gabe trades version, you have to become one with the simple trade 1348 version, which will make you a lot of money because it will, right? Um, let's see here. So, let's see. Right, cool. Now, we're going to go over the Gabe Trades chart. Again, the link down in the description there. We're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break so you guys can get off your ass and your ass doesn't feel numb because mine's just starting to feel numb. Plus, I need more coffee. We're going to talk about this chart. Holy hell. We're going to talk about this chart, what it means, okay? And then we're going to go into theory, and then we're signing out. This is going to be the last video anyone ever really needs about trading, right? Because it's like, you know what green is, and you know what red is. It is what it is. All right, so let's take our break, and I'll be right back. How's it going, guys? We're back. We're back. All right, you guys ready for round two? Who's ready for round two? Show some hands. Round two. Now, round two. Well, round one, right? We can see, hey, GG flip, right? With the band, we're good. A 200 with the band, we're good. So you guys see, you could take our system and tweak it to something where your eyes feels comfortable with, right? You're like, okay, it makes sense this way to me, right? Now we're moving on to the Gabe trade segment, and that comes with some nifty tools, right? We have the GG moving average, which is Gabe trades, and then we have the institutional entries, which is Gabe trades, and it's really, really going to help you out a lot, right? These things by themselves are worth the cost of admission. So if you are on the fence about signing up for Gabe trades, like, seriously, just do it. Seriously. And I'll prove it to you. I will prove it to you really quick. The one way to prove it to you, let me go ahead and just turn everything off really quick. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. We're going to do this. We're going to start this way. Who's ready? Who's ready? I need to see more pink hands before I begin. More pink hands, please. I want you to slap that hand like you're slapping that ass, boy. You ready? You ready? Man, Avocado, it says you're my number one fan. Like, Avocado's legit my number one fan, man. And then Holden's my number two. And then DC fan is number three. Oh, nice. All right, we ready? Cool, cool, cool. Let's do this. Now, really quickly, the chart is going to make you feel a certain way. Like, what the fuck, Gabe? There's no candles, no indicator, nothing. These are just institutional entries, right? And I'm going to show you how just the institutional entry could save you a whole lot of money. Okay, so let's say here we're going short. Let's measure the zone here. That zone is 41 points. Guys, on 1/8 NQ, that's $800. $800 fucking dollars. Right? Let's go ahead and measure this one. That's $1,000. Okay. Now, why am I showing you that? Let's go ahead and turn on the candles really quickly, because, and let's zoom on out. There we go. All right, cool. So, a lot of people go ahead and want to chase, the candle up here, right? They're going to want to go ahead and chase the candle way too far out, right? What we're telling them is, get your entry somewhere in these zones, right? So you want to be here. You want to get your entry somewhere here if you're bullish. You want to get your entry somewhere here if you're bearish, inside that zone, right? Because if not, what ends up happening is if you chase this candle down and then it comes back into the zone. Guys, this zone right here alone was $800. You imagine getting the candle retracement because you came because you entered somewhere over here when you should have entered here? That's $800 of drawdown. Am I making sense here? Am I making sense here? Guys, you could almost you could almost finish your day in a candle with a perfect entry. Should we have entered somewhere here in that zone? That's what, 29 points? That's $600. That potentially you enter somewhere in the zone. That's a savings of $600, and then you're just making your money right there, right? Is this making sense, guys? Like, we're talking about an extra $100 for game trades, but just this instrument alone will help you find that discount of an additional $600, $800. Who likes that? Which means that if you're getting a discount of $600, $800, you know what that discount means, right? It means that isn't a profit of $600, $800. Make sense? Make sense? Okay. So this is why we have the institutional entry. This institutional entry here will save you so much grief, right? But it will also show you the ebb and flow of the market. What do I mean? Well, of course, these are some bearish candles, right? Right? These candles, so bearish, right? Let me turn this off. These were all bearish candles. But why did every candle make you feel like it was going to reverse, courtesy of the wicks? Right? What the institutional entry is also showing you is that no matter what direction you're going in, these candles, right, are always going to trigger an emotion, always going to make you feel like it's going to reverse on you, always going to make you feel those things. So, in order to combat this sensation of, oh my God, it's going to reverse on me here, right? We deal with it differently. We say, oh, let me just enter up here. Because if I enter up here, let's say I enter right here. Let's do this. Guys, we enter here and we take it all the way down to the bottom of this wick right here. Holy hell. That's 100 points. We entered in the middle of the zone, brought it all the way down to the wick. That's 100 points. That's $2,000. One candle served you up $2,000 just because you were able to time your entry that much better. Please tell me you don't feel like a changed man right now, right? Because what happens, especially with beginner traders, you trade the impulse. You trade the impulse, not the retrace. So the impulse, the candle goes, impulse, I'm jumping in because the candle goes, right? You didn't jump in on impulse when the candle wasn't really showing you much of anything, right? But you did when it extended itself. So when it extended itself, now that candle's like, let me introduce you to my friend called Pain because you did not get good value on this candle. And so then what ends up happening? Ooh, you guys want to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation, right? And then you get immediate pullback. Yep. And then you're like, fuck. what do I do? Do I average down? Whoa. I think we just, the third part of this curriculum here, we'll talk about how all this comes together. But yes, you get immediate pullback. But anyways, let's talk about this. The impulse. All right, you're in, right? And even though, how many times, guys? How many times, right? How many times have you guys entered a trade on impulse and then the candle just makes your stomach fucking turn? And then you're staring at $500 drawdown in the candle by itself. And then you're like, fuck, I gotta close the trade. I'm gonna close the trade. So you close the trade, and then the candle just keeps going. And you're like, fuck my life. Right? Well, there's two ways to combat that. Right? One is to get a better entry based on, this guy right here, right? It's telling you everything you need to know, right? I mean, that's wow, right? Save some money here. Here's a little trick. Right, guys? Here's a little trick. You guys ready for this little trick? Here goes a gem. Check this out. Right. My trade says, I know that looks like shit. I can do 6 contracts, right? But, you know, I'm unsure of this candle right here, right? Zoom on in. This candle right here. I'm unsure of it. We're like extended all the way down. I'm not paying attention to candle close or the timer or how much time there is on a candle, right? But what I'll do, I know this trade is 6. If I'm like overextended, not in the zone, I'll go ahead with 2. I get the retracement back into the zone. I'm trading so small that this trade is insignificant to, well, I guess the drawdown is insignificant relative to my port size because I went smaller than scheduled, right? That's the beauty of it. Now, let's say you chase this candle here and then it retraced right back into the zone. Well, that's when you add your 2 because if you bought it here, at the bottom of here because you're chasing it, right? But then it retraced up here, that means your average is in the middle of that candle, right? It's in the middle of that candle. Now, what do you do when your average is pretty much in the middle of that candle? We don't allocate the full 6 just yet. We then let the trade go. And then guess what? By the time you get here, it's like, okay, there goes the trend. We're going to go ahead and get number 2. We're going to try to get it inside of this. And that's where we're scaled in. And this is where we make our money. Okay. You have a planned trade of 6 contracts, but we have an obligation to be consistent. And when we're consistent, we become profitable. And when we're profitable, right, the market has less of an edge on our emotions. And so this is why we're doing this. This is why we're giving you institutional entry. So the market has less of an edge on your emotions. It gives you a better entry point, right? And if you feel like you want to jump in that impulse, hold off on a full allocation, go a third in, go a quarter in, and then scale in when you can get better value. Does that make sense? Because, we're not going to get perfect entries all the fucking time, right? But we can control how we're going to enter every single time. Right or wrong? And I don't see no fucking hands in here, man. Like, jeez. You guys realize, like, how crazy I am? Like, I gotta, like, sit here and talk to a camera. Like a crazy person talking to myself. We're playing fucking make-believe. I'm just pretending there's an audience on the other side of the camera. You guys reminded me how lonely this shit is. Oh my god. So lonely. So lonely. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I am crazy. I am. But you see how this all makes sense, right? And this here, this is just, bro, this is not even a strategy. This is like, this is more of like, hey, don't be a fool, right? This is going to force you to be conscious about your entries and not FOMOing, right? This is the anti-FOMO indicator, right? Somebody's like, oh yeah, I bought way down here. Like, why? We told you get in up here. Why down here? It's the anti-FOMO, right? It's going to make you conscious, right? Who feels that way? Who feels like that will make you conscious of entry? Kim Jong Un Team America. Okay, cool. Hey, Ray, you're good. You're good. Okay, so now that we got that, all right, cool. Now, guys, let's build this chart like we did the first one, because now we got institutional entries here, and we're like, man, this, bro, imagine coming in way up here. You know, this massive boom boom candle right here. Oh my God, the pain on this retracement, $3,000. That's $3,000 of pain if you chase that candle. Let me get in somewhere down here. I mean, that range alone is $1,600. This whole candle is worth like $4,600. Oh my God, $4,600. $2,300 on 5 MNQs. Right? Like what? $1,600 on 3 MNQs. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, that's pain. Right? So that's why we have to train to trade and train and trade to be consistent, right? Because we're going to consistently try to nail it in these zones here so that we can be profitable. Okay. So we're going to turn off institutional entry here. We're going to turn back on. What do we have here? 1348 Legends. Let's go to the settings here. We got the 200 EMA. We got the ribbon, right? Looking very much like the first chart. We got our colorized candles. We don't have institutional entry on right now, but we're going to build that out. Okay. And then we have this. Okay. Woo-wee. Looks like a lot, huh? Let me help you out here. I can help you out here, guys. Okay. What we're going to do is let's turn off the ribbon for a second. Right. Now, what we're looking at is GT moving average, right? And you guys can see that GT moving average doesn't move as much as the ribbon, right? It doesn't. Now, if we were using GT average exclusively, we would go ahead and say, all right, where's the best deal on a long? It's probably going to be right here. and I'm going to hold, right? And I'm going to hold until I see some disgusting kind of money, or we break the band right there. That's simple. Okay. Now, let's talk about this because we can let's take the style here. I want the upper and lower trend off really quick. Okay. Really, really simple here, guys, right? So very, very simple chart. Very, very simple chart. Okay. So the band crosses GTMA here, right? Crosses GTMA here. Then we get, we could get our entry right here, right? Of course, we're still considering the 200, right? We're using the 200 as our bias. The band breaks, GTMA, this is long. Candle comes into the band, that's an exit, right? Okay. We don't take this trade here because it's going into the 200. So this trade is invalidated all the way down. But this one, right? We got to pop back up from, let's say we're trying to enter around the 200, even though the fair value is like way down here, right? But just mechanically, we see that the price and moving average has broken above, excuse me, price and the band has broken above the moving average. This right here, that could be an entry, and that could be 4,500 bucks, right? That could be 4,500 bucks. Or you go ahead and you wait, and you get out here. That's 165 bucks. So that's going to be about 3 grand, right? We go ahead and we see it again, using the 200 here, right? We're only going to look for the band, right? And we're looking for the band crossing the moving average. This here. We go long, confirmed by the 200, and we exit at or about here, right? A lot of different ways to skin this cat. We ignore this trade, right? And, mechanically, we would take this one, and we would ignore this, and we would take this one. But I want you guys to understand something about the market, okay? The market is doing this almost every day, right? Let's do this. Let's do this here. I'm going to draw that there, right? And I'm going to draw this here, okay? The market narrows throughout the day. There's narrowing in the market, right? So, although mechanically this here makes sense because you obviously have narrowing of the market and volatility just dissipating over time each and every day, right? These are setups you just don't want to take. So anybody who's going ahead and just trying to trade, after 130, just really, really look at, if the price action is narrowing, right? It's like you're coming out of your power band, if you will. This is where the money's made right here, right? Clear. It's not made here. Let's go ahead and look at another day here, right? This one's a little different, right? Where we had contraction and then expansion. So let's go ahead and this is really a hard day to draw, right? Because a bunch of contraction here and expansion. Probably a bad example, right? But this is what you would do. You see a day like this, unfortunately, you're going to miss out on this move, right? Because this is just chop. You might make your money right here, and then just assume that the rest of the day is garbage. Okay. The big moves here, and then you see how price volatility just gets thinner, right? So you could see that here, right there. You could literally see the wedge there, how it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, tighter and thinner and thinner and thinner. Make sense? Right. You're going to see this more times than not. And this is the reason why we say make your money in the morning and try to be done as fast as possible, because the quality of your setups diminish over time, right? And so just because, like you see the setup later on in the day doesn't mean that it's going to pan out as it would earlier in the day. That's why, you know, you get the early morning market volatility. That's where all the money is pretty much made. Okay. So here again, using the rules, right? The band breaks over the moving average. Way to go. Made your money there. This one's kind of crazy. Right? The band breaks below the moving average and you're holding until it comes all the way up here, right? But as you can see, the band breaking this moving average makes you money. Same thing here, right? I mean, same thing here. It just makes you money. Who said, let's see, Jesse said it's the cheat code. It most certainly is. So now let's go ahead and add the institutional entry with this here. Okay, so let me make this bigger. That's what she said. And let's bring this to the front. Right, it's in the front. Okay, so when that band crosses, it's usually happening on this candle, right? That first candle, guys, you don't need to jump in on. What you're doing is you're trying to time that second candle to get the best entry on that second candle, right? Because that second candle, that best entry right here, puts you right on the band, right? And this band is going to act as support for you. Now, I want you guys to see this as well. The band, if you're overextended here, let's say you got your entry. Let's say you got your entry right here, right? Which is on the top of the wick because you chased that candle, right? You're like, oh my God, yes, all my conditions are met. Everything broke through. And, we're rocking and rolling, right? So mechanically, yeah, I mean, this trade makes a whole lot of sense, right? But let me show you something, right? So if you get a retracement back down to the band at any point, let's say right here, that's $600, right? So the goal here is to not take the trade far away from the band, okay? You want to get your entries where price action is very snug with the band. You guys are following? Right. And that's where the institutional entry is going to help you. It's going to help you enter your trades where you're nice and snug inside the band. That way, you can use the band as a trend line. You use the band as a dynamic trend line. That is the only reason why we want to get our entry nice and snug into the band. It's so that the band can be our point of failure when there's a change of character. Does that make sense? So that's where institutional entry is always going to help you. It's always going to help you get inside the band, right? And where there's change of character is going to be when, a candle reaches the other side of the band or the band starts thinning, right? Forming, what we call classically a nipple, right? A nipple at the end of the band or a change of character, change of color here. Okay. So when using the strategy, when we are breaking, the moving average with the band, always keep in mind that you still want to use the institutional entries to get inside the band as much as possible so that you're experiencing more candles of profit than candles of drawdown. If that makes makes sense to you. Okay. And like I said, by doing it this way, right here becomes that objective moment that you get out. Okay. There's another way to do it. There's another way to do it. Now we're going to go ahead and turn on GTMA. Cool. So GTMA would say, okay, we got an upper band and we got the lower band of the GTMA here, right? And this is based on an ATR. Okay. Now, when the band, right? When the band crosses the moving average, what we are essentially telling you, let's zoom on in right here because we can do it this way. Okay, we broke, the band broke above. What we're telling you is if you're going to get in on this candle, make sure price is inside of here. Make sense? If you're going to get in on this candle, make sure you get in when the price is inside of here, right? Because then what we're going to do is we're going to use that, as psychological support, you know, we're going to use it as psychological support that, hey, the trade's doing fine up until we get a change of character and basically a mechanical break on the system. Okay, so this is where we're going to do this now. Okay, so guys, I would advise, if we're in a trade design, you're going to see your levels, right? So, but let me show you something because we don't have a trade design here. So I'm going to show you something. Let's go to 1348 and let's turn on predictive levels, right? And what do we have here? Just drawing all over the place. All right. All right. So let's see. We got levels moving forward. Let's see if we zoom on out. There are any levels back here. That's too far out. Okay. So in this case here, you would really have to like zoom on out to try to find a level to try to understand why you're rejecting off of here. But when is a good time to exit, right? What tells you it's a good time to exit? So let me explain it. Right. Let's do it this way. We're on the road. We're on the road. Okay. Um, and we're approaching a stop sign. Right. The goal is to stop. Right. The goal is to not end up in the intersection. Right. That's our goal. That's our goal to stop. Not end up in the intersection. There's a stop sign. Right. I personally subscribe to the idea that, you know, if we get a band change, right, or a body, if we get a body close into the band, right? So let's use this right here, right? Let's say this candle right here, let's say its body came all the way down to this side of the band, I would close. In this instance, the body came all the way to the other side of that band there, right? Even though it came back up, right? That's why we have a wick. So for me, watching the body come all the way down to the other side of the band, that is more than enough evidence for me to say, stop. I got to come to a stop, right? Now, it come to a stop. Did I break prematurely? Probably. Maybe. Who knows, right? But I'd rather break prematurely and be safe than break later and cause an accident, right? So in this situation, if we do not have that simple rule of the candle coming to the other side of the band as an objective exit, then we end up overshooting the intersection here and end up getting hurt. Make sense? Right? We leave nothing to chance here, guys. Guys, when we're riding on the road and we see some kids, on their bikes or whatever, right? Don't we alter the way we're driving because we're assuming, like that 10-year-old might fall or that 10-year-old might veer in front of you. You're practicing an an insanely like extra layer of caution, right? Guys, that's what we're doing here. We're making sure, you know what? I should have used that analogy initially. We're making sure we don't run them little motherfuckers over. Fair enough. Fair enough. Right? All right. So Nate Hale then asks if you're approaching a predictive level and get the band to cross GTMA, should we be waiting for a close above the predictive level? Okay. If you're approaching a predictive level, let me just make this very simple. If you're approaching a predictive level, you get out, secure the profit, then wait for the candle to break and hold above the level. Every line, every component on this chart is an area of interest. So Nate, I hope that answers your question, right? You would assume every level is going to smack you, like just going to beat you down. You have to approach it. You have to approach levels like we would assume the 10-year-old would veer in front of you. We have to treat it with care. Now, if you're like, well, there's too many levels, right? Cool. Let me go ahead and make my levels darker here. Let me show you something. Right. So cool. If you're like, hey, look, you know, I don't know if I'm going to break this level. Right. Let's say you're playing the bounce off of here, and you're conscious about breaking that level. Well, I mean, first off, that's 132 points. So one NQ made you 2 grand. Right. That's cool. But what what would make you more efficient? What would make you more efficient is if you simply waited until we got onto the other side of the level because there's nothing up here, right? The next level printed is over here. That's the next level, right? So if I'm looking at this trade and I'm like, okay, well, I could take this trade, but there's a level right there. I would probably wait for the candle close above this level because there's more room to run. And it's clear as day, right? All this, you got all this, whereas here is just this, right? That's really what I would wait for. That's what I will wait for, right? I would have to assume that level, is probably going to spank me. So let me just wait and be patient until we get to the other side of the level. That way, I got room to run, room to really, really, spread my legs, stretch my legs rather, spread my legs too. Room to stretch my legs. I need coffee. Make sense, guys? Cool. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to also look at, right? I want you guys to really become really picky with your trades. If you are committed to playing this reversal here, then get out here, right? Then get out here. Otherwise, wait and be patient and put yourself in a better zone. Listen, guys, you're grown adults. You're going to do whatever the fuck you want to do. For some of you, you're just like, hey, I'm just going to play this reversal real quick and I'll take 500 of that or I'll take 600 of that and be done, right? But the minute you are sucked into impulse, then guess what? You're in this trade anyways, right? So for me, it's like, why take the risk here when, like impulse is going to suck you into this trade anyway? So if you're going to have impulse suck you into the trade, you might as well let it do it, based on your rules and based on the fact that you got some room to run. Does that make sense? I hope so. I hope so. Okay. Now, we're going to have to do this now. Now we're gonna do this. We're going to go to 1348 Legends. We're gonna take off the 200, right? And we're going to we got the GT moving average. What I want to do is I want to take off the upper and lower band. There you go. Cool. Okay. Guys, what do we see here? This here, oh, you guys want the cheat code? It's right here. It is right here, right? You want to talk about practicing patience. We're saying, mind your fucking business here. Look what we have. We have the break of the band, we have the break of the level and everything. And guess what? We have that extra vote of confidence here. Like, baby, let's go. Right? Here, it's telling you no. Here, it's telling you no. Right? Let's go. Let's go. Right here. Right? Here, basically telling you, let's go, right? It's telling you, no, do not try to take a reversal here. Here it's telling you, let's go. Holy shit, right? Let's go. Making all kinds of money, right? Here it's telling you, don't do it. Here's like, let's go. Here's telling you, don't do it. Let's go. Here it's telling you, don't do it, right? This whole segment here is telling you, don't do it. Why? Because, I mean, you're basically going counter trend, right? And you're going to get smacked somewhere. Okay. So, here, let's go. Here, let's go. And they all have something in common, right? Where it's the band on the other side of GTMA, but to get the best entry, it's like, hey, baby, let's go right here. Like, this is it. This is the area. This is what we want. All right. So, Pablo, you brought up a point, right? So previously I taught multi-time frame, but now I'm telling you guys, give yourselves less to do because we're giving you everything you need to do on the 5-minute time frame. We don't need to do MTF anymore. It's all right here. Right? So we're on the 5 minute, right? We're in the 5 minute. Let's go. Nothing. Like it's given to you. It literally like it's like okay. So we got Price, right? Price breaks the band over here. Well, excuse me. The band breaks GTMA. It's still telling you no. Then it's like let's go, right? Then it's like no. And it's like let's go. Like no, guys. The secret's all here, and you'll be able to see it. You're able to see it clear as day. It's actually kind of crazy. Okay, so this is where you're having an aha moment, right? You're having an aha moment that this here, right? Holy shit, hot potato. Are you there? Hot potato, are you there? No, the guy needs to. I feel like even calling him. And I'm going to tell you guys something about the system, right? Okay, I'm going to give you a call right now. Right, make sure you mute. Make sure you mute. Uh, let's see. I'm going to call him right now. Nobody should be using the one, bro. Whoever's using the one, like, you deserve everything that happens to you. So, guys, this is the moment of truth here. I'm giving a man a call. All right. So, we never designed it this way for it to be this way, but it was always that. So, when the band breaks GT moving average, right, GT was already telling you what was happening. Hey guys, we didn't plan this. It's just that we've been so in tune with the system that we're constantly looking for different ways to validate it, and all roads lead to Rome here. That's what this is, right? You could only validate what's true, right, guys? Right, and so all we're seeing here is that what we're telling you, what we're showing you, what we're teaching you is true because it's constantly being validated, right? And
Yeah, that yellowing is just, is it going against the 200 or not?
correct, right? And that is that's that's a one all be all right there, right? But when we're talking about, hey, did the band break GTMA? Yes, it did. Did GT500 give me the go? Yes, it did. Guys, that's all you need to succeed in this game. Yeah, that's it. That's all you need, right? So, you guys, it just it happened here. It, I'm not sure if he picked up on it immediately, but it's just crazy how like everything just sort of kind of like builds upon one another, and it confirms one another, right? It's like you guys ever want you talk to a guy and like you get a sense of like he might be full of shit, but then you talk to another guy and they're like saying the same thing, and they're like and then you got a third guy who's saying the same thing. But that's what we're doing here with the charts. Right? We don't want you counting on one guy because that one guy is always going to make you feel like a fucking cynic. You're like, what do you mean I could make 6 grand on this trade? That guy's like, yeah, you can make 6 grand on this trade. Just follow this band. What do you mean? That's impossible. Then you got the other guys who are like, yeah, we could do it. We're doing it. Anyways, thanks, bro. It's just a full circle moment happened here. Even my mind's blown. Because, guys, we had it under our nose the whole fucking time. Right? All
That
it,
and a lot more.
yeah, right. And the thing is like, guys, this is you only see it this way when you're fully submitted to the system. You could only see it this way when can I get some hands here? Who sees it? Who agrees with it now? Like, holy shit! Like, really? Is it really that easy? Because it is now. Thank you, bro. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man, no problem. Later.
Peace. Right. So if you see it, do you want to give yourself more to do? Right? Because guys, look it. When we do it this way, every trade looks the same. All right. Did my band break below GG moving average? Yes. Did GG go red? Yes. That looks we can't argue that trade. That's what it looks like. Right? A monkey looks like a monkey. A rabbit looks like a rabbit, right? This looks like a trade. This doesn't look like a trade. Right? This looks like a trade. Right? That looks like a trade. This here. Rose conditions. Band breaks GT. This looks like a trade, right? Yes? Now, let me ask you, are you trading to make more money? Or are you trading to be consistent? Because now you guys know what it looks like. Now you know what it looks like. There's no way you can fuck this up, right? Like, guys, I had an epiphany right in front of you guys, right? Hot Potato and I, we go ahead and we build indicators independently, right? To see if we can break it, right? What I mean break it is invalidate our system. And all we end up doing is validating it more, right? And so then we got layers of confluence, and it's just like you do not get to this level of efficiency by chance, people. You do not get to achieve this, right? Without a level of expertise, without a level of belief, without having experienced consistency, right? It's like you do not get to this level of efficiency. Yeah, it's just wild, right? So, how do you exit the trades realistically? Like, bro, like, come on. Let me. All right. So, how would you exit a trade? Well, when price breaks the band, right? I'm exiting trades when, like, bro, the money just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like when the money just makes sense. So if I'm in a trade and I'm up 10 grand, you know what? Like, I'm not trying to be like, "Use be sure we can make 20." We're like, yo, that's 10 grand. That's fucking 10. I'm gonna take 10 grand. You know what I can do with 10 grand? I can do a lot with 10 grand. Right? So price the body. We covered this. You might want to go ahead and rewind. Right? We want to exit when the body gets to the other side of the band. Right? But if we're in this, right, I'm like, man, I made 2 grand, 3 grand. Like, bro, it's like when the trade starts making you feel uncomfortable, when you start looking at the money and you're like, damn, that's a lot. Fucking take the money. Like, seriously. Like, that's a lot of money. Like, where else are you getting an opportunity? Guys, where else are you getting an opportunity to, I don't know, let's, oh my God, right? Because the system said so, 168 points. So where else are you going to get an opportunity to make 3 grand in the morning? Bro, I think some teachers make that in a month. Like you got some you got some kindergarten teachers dealing with like the fucking spawns of Satan, these little terrible motherfuckers. And they're only making like 40 grand a year. And you're doing 3 grand in a day. while you send your terrible little motherfucker off to that kindergarten teacher. Shame on you. At least now you can make some money. In, in homeschool, then maybe. Send him to private school. Man, seriously. Little fucking spawns of Satan. You could literally take that and be done for the rest of the week. You could. You could. I mean, you really, really, really could. Just okay. So now we know how to make money. Here's the fun part: how to stop losing money. Okay, this is the way we do it. Right? You guys ready for this? Who's ready for this? You guys ready for this? Here we go. I, right, don't want to lose money. Who does? Who wants to lose money? Who wants to lose money? Nobody does, right? I love losing money. I do. I love it. You guys need to learn to love losing money too. You do. I know it sounds counterintuitive, right? People are like, huh? Fuck you talking about, Willis? What you mean you gotta love losing money? Right? I love losing money because the feeling of me losing money doesn't betray me. I love it that it's honest with me. Unlike when you're making money, it's not very honest with you, right? Because when you're making money, especially as a beginner trader, it's like, ooh, emotions, right? Greed kicks in. The possibilities are endless, right? All these things. But when you're losing money, oh my God, it's just the fucking truth in your face. Like, bro, you're red. What are you going to do about it? Lose fast to win faster. But I love losing money because losing money tells me the truth. And the reason why you guys lose a lot of money when you're losing money is because you're in fucking denial and you're not accepting the truth for what's being told. Like it's telling, okay, let's do it. Let's do it, right? Here we go, guys. Let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's say I don't have 1348, right? Let's turn off these levels for a second. Because, bro, let's do this. Right. Let's say I FOMO'd and entered here, right? Now, the pain begins here, and that's as far as it's going to fucking go for me. I don't need to experience more pain with price coming into a GG moving average, right? I don't need to play a game of chicken with my fucking money. It was honest with me. Through the whole ride here, the candle, right? The candles, the bodies did not once cross on over to the other side, nor did the band actually change. And this is the reason why I tell people, maybe you should practice trading without the candles, right? Because guess what? I want to show you guys something, right? If I entered here and accepted I was wrong once it turned red, that being wrong for just this short amount of time allows me, let's rewind a little bit. Let's say I entered here and I allowed myself to be wrong here. Let's say I absorbed all that pain. That's only 37 points, right? And then it helped me get in here, which is 156 points. But if I entered up here and I accept that I'm wrong here, I'm good, as opposed to, oh my God, right? And because I'm married to being right because I entered way up here, I will then expose myself to an excruciating amount of pain before I acknowledge and come to terms with me being wrong. There is so much value in admitting you're wrong when you're wrong than going ahead and being an egotistical son of a bitch and thinking like the market actually cares about you because it really doesn't, guys. It doesn't care about you, and neither do I. Because if you're wrong and you're acting as liquidity, I'm coming for you. SOAR institutions. Says everybody else knows what the fuck they're doing, right? We're coming for you. So, I love being wrong. If I entered here and it tells me I'm wrong here, that's all you need to tell me. Make sense? This is all you need to tell me, especially after I made some money here. Guys, if you allow yourself to be wrong in short-lived segments here, do you know how fucking right you're going to be when you're on the right side of the trade and the trend? Don't let your ego offset or diminish the edge that the system provides because it clearly tells you when you're wrong. Does that make sense? Hmm. You cut fast. It gave you a reason not to believe, right? It gave you a reason not to believe, guys. Listen, you give me some doubt here, we're done. We're done. Like, I mean, guys, come on. Let me actually. Well, I'm sorry. Uh, let's see. All right. So, do we have any ladies in the chat here? How many ladies do we have? Yeah, chart does look beautiful. It's clean as fuck. Right? You just need the candles so you can get your entry on. And then once you get your entry on, turn the candles off. Guys, right? If you're looking to hold and maximize your hold, right? Right. Sweet. All right. We got the candle. We got our entry right here. We know that that's our entry, right? This is our moment of truth. That's our entry. Cool. Once that happens, turn off the candles and just let it go. Be a man. That's it. Right. So, we got Diana. Diana, poor thing. Okay. Jack's no lady, right? So, you know, when a man gives you a red flag, you try not to stay around too much longer, right? He gave you a red flag. You start talking to your best friend, like, oh my God, like, I'm wondering. And she's like, girl, don't be stupid. Like, don't be stupid. Fellas, red flags, we see a red flag, we talk to our boys, we're like, oh, bro, don't be stupid. That's already no flag. All right. So, 2 solid and 444. If you're asking that question, you are just, you're thinking too much and it's just way above your pay grade. So he's asking, Peaky Blinder asks, is any need for MACD? I was going to get to that point. Actually, no, you don't need MACD. But to go back to Solident, is it always best to do a full take profit? What do you think about taking partials with a break even? Partials with a break even. All right, so let's talk about what break even is. Break even is meant to keep you safe. But what ends up happening is that when you get to break even, you alter ATR, right? And so let's say you get to break even. If you're now 1.5 ATRs away with price, right? That break even's more than likely going to get hit. And so the break even, guys, is more for ego, right? And break even is also useful when you haven't really proved your system out or proved your edge out, right? It's like you have a hypothesis. Just like when we were building 1348 out, we were telling you guys take it to break even, right? So you can remove, the emotions from the trade. But I'll tell you now that since we've reached final form, because guys, this is the end of phase one. We're not touching the charts anymore. There's nothing more to do. But what we're telling you now is like submit to the system. You don't need to do a break even. You don't need to because we're not proving out the system anymore. We know that the system actually works. And break even is more to protect your ego. And break even, when we do the back testing, breaking even tends to perform a lot less than just letting the trade go. When you set to break even, you're changing the whole, like, the plan of the trade, right? So now you're break even if you're going against the trend makes perfect sense, right? Because you're going against the trend. When you're going with the trend, it probably doesn't. That's my point. Does it make sense? Breaking even is just really to help prove your strategy out without assuming risk, protecting your ego, and to take partials as the trade goes on. I'm not one to like leave runners. I mean, like I just take my money, I get out of the market. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Right? Because time equals risk in the market. The longer you have money in the market, the more risk you're assuming. That's it, right? Now, unless you got a portfolio of fucking money, you got $10 million, and your time horizon is 10 years from now, right? You're probably good, right? But let's talk about those guys for a second. Do you think those guys have a stop? Do you think those guys have a stop? You got a $10 million port, and you're in the S&P. Do you really think there's a stop loss somewhere? No. No one's sending you a letter quarterly like, bro, you lost 30% because we hit a stop loss. No, that's not happening. It's just not happening, right? Stop losses are uniquely intraday trading, and they're designed for retail traders who truly haven't developed an edge. Because I will tell you this. I will tell you this. Right? We show you enough on the chart for you to know where you're wrong. And once you identify when you're wrong, that's when the trade ends. You don't need to have a stop. You need to have areas of where you know you're wrong. That's all you need. And the band is probably, yeah, that's public enemy number one, the band, right? When it changes color. That will let you know immediately you're wrong. Pretty simple. There you go. Right. You exit there, you're wrong. Cool. We re-enter someone here. Boom. Trade breaks. You're wrong. Right. Let's say we're going long here, right? We're going long here. Boom, you're wrong. Right there. No need to absorb all this pain. It's right here. You're wrong. Okay. You don't necessarily need to have your stops out there because usually your stops are going to be like where other people's stops are. And that's when it's like, okay, there are a bunch of stops here. Now we got supply and demand zones, and just you'll get hunted. You'll get hunted. So it's usually better instead of like setting a hard stop, it's to set a line, draw a line, right? Like this is where I'm going to exit regardless. Okay. But I'll be honest, this thing just tells you when to accept it wrong and when to get out, right? So even if we're in this trade, we're rocking and rolling, we get out here. Then we come back in, we're rocking and rolling, we get out there. Plenty of examples, guys. Right here. Oh my God. Paid. Ignore that. Ignore all this. Here, paid. Here, paid. Ignored all this. Right? Here we go. Here, paid. Here, paid. Ignore all this. If you got in on here, you get out here. You get to flip again. Come right back in. That's it. Right? Whole lot of garbage right here. This is where the money was, which is right here. This here would keep you out of harm's way, right? Especially when it's yellow. Are you guys seeing it now? Because now if you're only looking for the band breaking GTMA, and then all you have to do is reference this until it tells you it's a no-go anymore. Guys, how easy is this? This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do, guys. Hold on. Let me do this right now. We're gonna do this for you right now. Open that chart up right now. That chart reflects exactly what my chart is right now. Right? It's literally 3 spots to check. Yep. Band break, GTMA. GT says go. Bro, that's all we need to do. Right? We see some yellow on GT. Bro, we do not need to fuck around and find out. Why? Because we're getting enough opportunities throughout the day. We're getting enough opportunities throughout the day. Come on. And if there is an opportunity today, there's opportunity tomorrow. Do not go ahead and sacrifice a day that's not meant for trading. Do not sacrifice your account for days that are not meant for trading. Just don't do it. Right? Are we making sense of this? Guys, just this is fucking beautiful, man. You start the day, cool, your candles are on. This just happened, cool, you enter the trade. Then you go ahead and just turn off your candles. Done. Right? So, Raj, that's for me personally, I like to wait because I don't like volatility, right? But you owe it to yourself to go ahead and do a little bit of back testing and see if it works out. Right? I just have a preference. I like stability in a market. I like to know that, my edge is stable, and that my edge isn't flip-flopping because the market and Trump decide that they want to just, boom or bust. I just can't do that. So, um, all right, all new people, please ask tons of questions because it's over because work is too busy for me to pay attention. So C6, you'll get a recording of this. All right, so am I going to do study halls with the updated system? I should. But guys, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna be frank with you guys, right? And it's a conversation that I've had with Hot Potato and had with everything with a lot of people. Is this is a business, right? Um, but this has to be a business that makes money, and not a business that cares so much about you guys. And we've literally just put ourselves out there for the past 5 years and just literally built the best system out there. Um, Under pretense that you know, I cared a lot about you guys and I cared a lot about your success. But at this point, we have reached peak and you're literally on your own at this point. Like you're either gonna follow the rules or you're not gonna follow the rules. My job now is to make fucking money and to build this company, and help it achieve, revenues that is never achieved before. So if I am going to do study hall, it's not going to be free, for sure. Right. And I'm glad, DC fan, you're learning stuff. But I want to show you guys something funny. I want to show you guys something funny. Ready? I'm going to turn everything off. Right. I'm going to leave this off. What we're going to do is we're gonna turn this on. We're going to turn this off. Turn this off. Right. So everything's pretty much off except Legends there. I want to show you guys something. Right. So this here is a representation of your daily candle, right? The daily candle got as high as here, got as low as here, contracted as low as here, expanded to as high as here, right? If I were to get in on the daily candle, where would I get in when it's absolutely cheaper? Okay, so now what you guys are going to see is the institutional line is essentially that, but except it's inside the 5-minute candle. It's the same exact thing, right? So how does that add up? Well, that adds up in saying we want you to get in at the cheapest part of the day, right? At the best price available at that very moment when you decide to enter the trade, right? And that's basically what we're saying here. Okay. This is representing the 5-minute candle, and this is representing the daily candle. That's it, right? If we're bullish, don't we want to catch it down here? And if we're bearish, don't we want to get it up here? All right. So Master Alpha, can we bring back options alerts? I mean, yeah. I just feel like dollar for dollar, no futures makes way more money. And yes, you could create your own alerts, like Hypnotic Chart said, but I think dollar for dollar, you make more money in futures, and it's much simpler because it's point and shoot. So guys, I told you this was going to be about 3 hours, and we managed it in 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I hope you guys can tie in all this information for bot users. Okay. Now, bot users. I think bot users are going to need their own trade camp, honestly. Right. But if you can go ahead and follow this system, and then when you're looking at the bot, wait a second, hold on. With what you learned here, then you look at the bot taking a trade. Oh shit! Like, yeah, fuck it. Like, okay, that makes sense, right? The bot took the trade. Yeah, it's doing this thing. Yeah, like, yeah. Hold on. How many times? How many times? And this is going to happen, right? Because it just happens, right? But hey, look, the bot stood in the trade and it didn't get out when it was supposed to. Didn't get out on a band flip. Maybe you could just get out for the bot. Yes, we went over the back against the wall. So basically, your back is against the wall, meaning is being supported by something, which would be a band, or which would be a level, right? You want to make sure that when you're entering a trade, there's something immediate to fall back on with your back on something, right? So that's why we want to get into the trade as snugly into the band as possible, or as snugly into the other side of the level. Okay. That's what that is. Um, I want you guys to like really start looking at your bots with the information that you gathered here, and you're like, oh, okay, human intervention there, I make so much money, right? So, camp for bot users, I can go ahead and get that scheduled, and we'll make that happen. But you can take everything that you got from here, and while you're watching the bot will make sense to you. The problem with some of the people using the bot, so a lot of people just jumped into using the bot, was they jumped into using the bot. They didn't trust the bot because they didn't even fucking understand the system. Like, this is true. And I'm just speaking facts here, right? Where you're like, oh god, I don't, the bot, I don't know. Like, shut up. If you don't understand the system, then the bot's not going to make any sense to you. K-bomb. Every bot has its own flavor and its own method of doing things. You can now go ahead and like apply what you learned here, right? Go ahead and turn on the bot, pick your flavor, and then take what you learned here and yeah, just tinker with it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, guys, we don't pay the man enough, but maybe hot potato. Uh, maybe you go ahead and create a bot based on what we're talking about. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. No promises. Yeah, greedy, man. Yeah, greedy. All right, man. Hope you guys feel like you learned something, right? That there's enough material in this to, in fact, justify the paltry $100 you guys have spent here. Oh my God. Yeah. You guys have a good one. We are signing out. Peace.